Likutei Nefilas Apaim Halacha Daled. We're holding by Sif Chav Gimel. So that's the reason why we're touched upon the subject that Dafka David HaMelech was zoicha to that nekuda of Chatzois, because he's B'chinas Malchus Mashiach. Malchus Mashiach is the awakening from below, as opposed to awakening from above. Since Moshe Rabbeinu was the first Geula, it had to be from above. Am Yisrael was under tremendous danger. And when a person is drowning, that's not the time to teach him how to swim. And first of all, you just pull him out. But later on, you can't keep pulling them up. That's not going to teach them how to swim. So then, slowly by slowly, you have to teach them how to, to make it on their own. That's a sphere sa'omer. So that's why, being that we didn't have the Torah, they didn't have the me'akev properly. So there was no keseh yet, there was no Torah. That's why the chametz, which represents the waiting, the contemplation, the delving deeply into the issue, was totally asur. Just get out, get up and go. Don't think too much, just go. That was the problem of Adam Rishon. Just he wanted to understand. That's Chetes Hadas. That's why he fell. He says, "Well, can't tzrichim lechol as matzah daika." That's the reason dafka you have to eat matzah. Matzah represents shubchinas chipazon. Matzah represents haste. B'chinas se'ora elyoyna agava ma'od. This is a very, very, very high illumination. The matzah itself is a refuah, as it says in Zohar Kodesh. Because by that we eat matzah for 7 days. And we are very, very careful to stay away from any kind of even a mashu of chametz. With this, we keep our mind not to think after HaKadosh Baruch Hu and start judging HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Did he do right by me? Did he do wrong by me? What does he want from me? Why did he do this to me? All this, and not to look in that which we don't have a permission to look at. And with this in itself constitutes the Isarus Adultasa. This is the awakening from below, which allows us afterwards to be Mekabel B'moichin, one step at a time. That's why after Pesach the Chometz is mutter, because when the Moichin are coming down Keseder, you have one step at a time. You learn first the ABC, and then you learn how to put together, words, and then you learn how to put together sentences, and so forth and so on. You go one step at a time. Well, if you're learning driving, if you're learning a profession, you learn one step at a time. You learn it Keseder. This goes through the Rusa del Tata. You practice, you make perfect, you acquire it, and then you can move on. Then, once you do that, once you try it out, you learn by doing. You learn it, and you do it, and you practice it, and you do it. This is how you acquire the koch, hamsadav, hamyashav of Yosef. Then, haste is no longer necessary, because what we get an illumination from Tachas Hayadiyah Shashar Lo Neda. We already get it from the end of knowledge is that we don't know, and at that point in time, the chametz is allowed and it's rectified kedusha through the koach hamesadav hamyashav that is drawn upon us, which is ha'aras akesa. It's important to understand. We find ourselves in many points of our lives. We mentioned it before, whereas you feel, okay, now I got it. Now I got it, now I know it, now I know what it's about. I got it all figured out. And as you keep on doing, you're making Avodas Hashem according to your Madrega, suddenly you find yourself in a state of confusion. You're confused. And you don't know why. I had it all figured out. What happened here? It's because you're going to a new Madrega. After you finish the Neda of your Madrega, now you reach Shalom Neda. You no longer know. Because that knowledge that you knew was only good for the Madrega where you're holding it. But compared to what is still to know, you don't know diddly. So first of all, so you get to a Nakuda that now you're confused. You know, what should I do now? What should I do next? Like, where am I holding? And we pass through our lifetime, if it is, if we're working on it, and it's true about anything, any kind of profession, any kind of this. If you really work at it, you reach a point that you don't know. Because you know everything there is to know about the Madrega where you are. So you reach a P'chinas of Lo Neda. Lo Neda is the Kesa which enables you to move forward. The only difference between Chometz and Matzah is just a Nakuda. They both have Mem and Ches. Only the difference between Tzadik and Mem. Only difference between Chometz and Matzah is that the Chometz has a Ches and the Matzah has a Hey, which are very similar, except that the Hey, there's a little Nekuda missing. The left leg doesn't reach all the way up to the roof. That's the difference between Hey and Ches. There's a little vacancy there. There's a little tunnel. There is a. And ben Chometz l'matzah ela mashu. Shezeh mashu yefshar la'asig. That mashu, that nekuda, is impossible to comprehend, to fathom. She'u sod nekudas chatzos laila. That is the mystery of the point of chatzos laila. Sod kiddush hachodesh. This is also the mystery of the sanctifying of the month. So tachas hayadiyah asher lo neda. That is the point where knowing and not knowing become one. Shezeh this mystery will not be revealed until Mashiach ben David will come. Then the Geula is going to be through the Torah, dafka through the Yisausa del Tasa, an awakening from below. Then it will shine upon us. The illumination of the Kesed that Mashiach himself will be masig. Atik Yamin Mata, until Atik Yamin will arrive. Okay, that's why he says, you will not leave, you won't get out of the Golus in haste, in a hurry. And you're not gonna escape, your movement, your advancement is not going to be in running away. Why? Then the concept of Moshe and the concept of David, Sif Chavdalah, will be included together. Mashiach will include both of them. B'chinas Chama v'Levana, the Redifa and the Ma'akev. The running, the surging forward, and the holding back. B'chinas Das v'Emuna, knowing and believing. Ki ha'Ma'akev u'b'chinas Emuna, that thing which is hold back, that's Emuna. When a person becomes impatient, why don't I have parnasa? Why my relationship with my family members might not be what I'm dreaming of? Why am I not getting anywhere? Why don't I have a job yet? Why don't this? Why don't that? What is the thing that gives you the koyach to wait? The emunah. That's the thing. So hold back. The people that don't have emunah, the people that don't have emunah, don't have the capacity that allows them to let things go and to wait. And that's why they keep on fudging their Yeshua, their salvation, their deliverance. Because by the time the deliverance comes, they're no longer there.
Who's deliverance?
Is Yeshua, is the salvation, when the Kodesh Baruch Hu saves them, delivers their Yeshua as a deliverance. You know, when the Kodesh Baruch Hu, they're not there because they gave up and they went home, or they did something rash, they did something foolish, they went to rob a bank, or they went decided, maybe I need to cheat, maybe I need to finage, maybe I need to dafka somebody that sees that things don't go his way, and he waits. He calls the Kodesh Baruch Hu and he waits. And he waits. That koyach ama'akiv, from saving you from doing nonsense, is the emunah. That's koyach amisad of ama'akiv. Kema'akiv b'chinas emunah, b'chinas malchus David. The alma shema'akiv ha'moichin meridi fosam, it holds back the moichin from their surging ahead. Don't do anything rash. Don't run ahead, but rely on the emunah. And when you're zoiche that both will be combined together, this is the main hasaga, perception, understanding, acquisition of the Likutei of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that will be in the time of Mashiach, that will be included from both of them, from Moshe and David. Moshe represents the surge, and David represents the holding back. That will rectify the blemish of Adam Rishon perfectly, and will be zoche to do this, and all this is acquirable through doing the mitzvahs b'simcha. It all depends upon doing the mitzvahs b'simcha. It's not by becoming a professor for Torah. It doesn't come out of learning Kabbalah. It doesn't come out of Chap Malachim. It doesn't come out of jumping over your puppet. It comes from doing the mitzvahs b'simcha, as we learn in Torah Chavbeis. You do the mitzvah simcha, it starts the process all on its own. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu alluded to when he says, Ki korav alecha adava ma'od b'ficha levavcha la'asayse. Moshe Rabbeinu says, don't say it's in the Shemayim. Don't say, who is going to go up and bring it down to us. Don't say it's the other side of the sea. Who's going to go over to the other side of the sea, a transatlantic flight, and bring it to us. For the matter is very close to you. It's in your heart and in your mind, and in your mouth to do it. It's in there. So I'm not going to explain the heart. Shutaki yearn for Insof Mamash. That's the Redif. But the mouth, in words with the mouth, you ask for it. This is the ma'akiv. With how we do when you do it, by doing the mitzvahs b'simcha, you'll get everywhere. You'll get to the Shamayim, you'll get to Me'evel Hayam, you'll get to the tzaddik that will go up to Shamayim and bring it down to you. You'll go to the other side of the sea of Chochmah and bring it to you. How? When you do with something which fits the description of something which is very close to you, it's within the capacity of your heart and your mind to do it. You daven for it, and you do it with the heart, b'simcha. And simcha ela balev, the toiv lev, Yain samach levav einash. The wine gladdens the heart of a person. So the place of the simcha is in the heart. The doing the mitzvahs b'simcha, that is the key. That is key. Maybe I need to learn Otzes Chaim now with Motak Midvash. Maybe I need to learn Otzes Chaim, Kisvariza a little bit. Just to figure out what's happening. Do the mitzvahs b'simcha. This will bring the geula, because b'simcha sitzeu, with simcha you get out. This is the thing that will get us in the asaga that says in the story, Ashrei mi sheyizkeh lezeh merav ameinu amen. And Simcha says like this, and let's go to the first matter. That this is the mystery behind, the secret behind the Nefilas Apaim that you drop on your hand during davening. That is the thing that creates the unification above, which is this is the acquisition of the infinite light through the combining of the surging and the holding back, the redif and the ma'akim. That's why immediately after we say Nefilas Apaim, we say Kedusha de Sidra. Kedusha de Sidra, up to Kedusha de Sidra is the matter of going up. You're going up the ladder. You're going through the Karbonas, you're fixing the Elam Asiyah. You're going through the Psukkah de Zimra, you're fixing Elam Yitzira. You're going through the Krishma Birkaseh, you're going through Elam Abriya. You're going to Shmoneh Esrei, you get to Elam Atzilus. You're facing Kadosh Baruch Hu face to face. After Shmoneh Esrei, you face the Kadosh Baruch Hu. There's a time where you coming from below and the Kadosh Baruch Hu from above are fused into one thing. That's Nefilas Apaim. That's the ultimate intimacy between you and the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Nefilas Apaim means bittul. That's the time that you're mesvada all the averos. No more secrets, no more hiding behind, making yourself dumb and making yourself like, come on, I gotta go to work, let's get it. Now it's time to admit everything, open everything up, and after you do it, because that's the time where Esrosin comes from above, and you fall down, and this is where the fusion takes place. Once that happens, this is Ruza Dultata, you did all the work up to now. Now comes the Shefa from above. This is Asher Valtzion. This is when the bounty comes down from above. This is the time where the bounty comes down, as it says in the Kavonas Arizal. The main tool, the main technique of bringing down the Shefa down is through the koach hamasader samerchen. This dafka the koach that harnesses and disciplines the intellect. Shekoach hame'akev samerchen min negifos, and that thing that holds back the intellect from surging ahead. Because the run, the momentum of the intellect to run, to understand more, to get more, to be masig more, to get to our Ein Sof. If there wasn't that force that was holding you back, the Mercham will go up, and totally get out of their kalim. They will, you lose the senses, you lose the anchor. Then person go crazy. You're losing any seichel at all. Then no bounty would come down, because the Mercham would only go up and it would never come down. This would ruin the world. This is the famous Misas HaMalachim, the dying of the kings. Before the Torah goes to what happens with Yaakov and the Shvatim, So there's a passage, he says that these are the kings that reigned of Esau, that reigned, this one, first it was this one, then he died, and then it was this one, and he died, and then it was this one, and he died, and then this one, then he died. And then once we finish all the book, and then Yaakov comes. And so there's a story about the Rabbeinu Arizal, that he lay down to take a rest, to take a nap on Shabbos Kodesh, and one of his Talmidim noticed that he was mumbling while he was asleep. So he put his ear down to hear what the Rebbe was saying. Doch kach Arizal woke up. So, and he asked the Talmud, what are you doing? So he said, the Rebbe was speaking in his sleep, and I was trying to hear what the Rebbe was saying. So Arizal told him, I don't remember how much time he told him, but I think he told him it would take 70 years to explain that which he was told during that nap about the secret of Misas HaMelachim, the death of the Melachim. The death of the Melachim is a euphemism to the process before the Olam HaTikun. There was the famous Shvira, the shattering of the vessels. The lights came from above. The primordial vessels were very limited, so to speak. And the light overwhelmed them, and the vessels broke. And they fell down to the Klippas, Kaviyachal. Then comes the stage of Olam HaTikun, where the shards of Kedusha are elevated from the Klippas. The breakage, the shattering of the vessels was essential to create Bechira. You had to create a void where the Bechira itself, where darkness itself will lie, would exist, and there would be kedusha in it. And now comes the avodah through Bechira. You elevate the kedusha from there. So the shattering, the process of the shattering of the vessels is called the Misas HaMelachim, the death of the kings. What was it? Is that since the Kalim could not receive the light, the vessels shattered, and the light remained above. To understand what is the pshat is that there were just primitive Kalim that could not sustain the light. A primitive keli is a keli that cannot contain and accept a contradiction. A mind of a child, sweet is good. Anything that hurts is bad. There can't be sweet that is bad for you, or something that hurts that's good for you. The mind of a child is a simple mind. Either this or that. Either chesed or gvura. Okay? The minute you tell him he can't have a candy because the candy is good, because it's sweet, but it makes cavities, which is bad. But the mind of a child cannot comprehend that. That child is the mind of a child, and the mind drives him out crazy, and running tantrum and lying down on the floor and and then if that doesn't help, then you can see the child already like
That's it.
You mean it doesn't work? Trying with all this might. So this is the same thing, is that the child, the mind of a child, is working the katas, cannot understand a pain that is good for him. An injection. No way injection. Come an injection, I'll never forgive you, bad mommy, or whatever, the whole...
It's over.
That's it, it's over. It's a grown-up mind, which is a composite from good and bad, can already comprehend chesed and gvura together. The first kelim, where the chesed was only chesed, the gvura was only gvura. The light of Ein Sof is a composite light. It has all the spheres together. It has the chesed and the gvura, it has everything combined. The primordial kelim could not contain that, and that, the result was what happens to the mind of a child. When the light, the complex light overwhelms him, it shatters, it breaks down. That is misas hamalacha. So being that the kelim could not receive, so the lights came back. They went back to the church. But when you have the holding back power from the Keser, through which is the rectification of all the oilamos, of all the spiritual universes, when the brain runs above, it surges above, surges up, then that anchoring power, the harnessing power, the breaking power, holds them back. And because of the speed and the momentum and the sort of like kinetic energy of the surging of the moichin, banging into the barrier that holds them back. The surging hits, bangs into the thing, into the holding back, into the barrier. And that creates the modes of perception for lights which are unfathomable, unachievable, beyond comprehension. You get it and you don't get it. You know you got it and you don't know what you got. It's all both of them together. This is how you get the light of Ein Sof, with surging forwards and going backwards. You get it and you don't get it together. That is the mechanism that brings down the Shefa Lamata. Because it is through the surging, the moichin are included above P'nas Ratzon. Through the barrier, they come back with Knas Vashoy. And when they come back, when they go down back again, all the shpoas and the brachas come down. All the bounty, all the blessings, all the growing, everything comes down. Because the main brachas come from Or Ein Sof Yisborach Shmoy. All the brachas come from the Ein Sof. Because the Kodesh Baruch Hu, gives chayes to everything, and He's the source of all the brachas and all the shpoas in the world. But you can't receive anything. You cannot retain anything unless you have the vessels. You can't collect the rainwater unless you put out a pail, unless you put out a pot, unless you put out something to collect the rainwater. You have a keli. Otherwise, it just spills, and you go like, "Wow, this is unbelievable! Look at that rain." But you don't have anything in your hands from it. You don't retain anything. The same thing happens intellectually. You cannot get the shefa unless there are kelim, and the kelim are becoming through this 9 heichelim that are becoming to being through this combination of the banging into the barrier. That's why after the kedusha, after Nefilas Apaim, which is kedusha Zabal Tzion, the kodesh, as we know, is the moichin. This is the 3 kedushas that corresponds to the 3 moichin that combine into itself. Chochma bin Adas hits Chochma bin Adas and becomes 9 heichel, the 9 vessels. That's why it's called the kedusha the sidra. Why is it dafka called kedusha the sidra? The sidra because their dafka is through the mesada and the miyashav of the moichin. The kedusha of the orderly kedusha, because it comes through the koyach to put order into things. to systemize things, to put a filing system into place, so you can get a grasp, or you can get a semblance of control over all this material. Anybody can come and just dump all the paperwork on your table. It doesn't mean that you know anything. So when you put order into things, and you divide things, and you file things away, and then you grasp control, you wrestle control over, everything, and then it can come to, then the ikar shav is automat al deze daika. Al deze chazin ha-meichin toch kilayim, dafka, then the meichin come back to the proper vessels, and mamshichim shefa v'rafto l'beis Yisrael, and they bring plenty and shefa to Beis Yisrael, begashmis, beruchnius, amen v'amen. And the Ilchas Nefilas Apaim Aloha Hey is in the Ilchas Nefilas Apaim Aloha Vav. Ad kan Nefilas Apaim, Likutei Halachos, Ilchas Nefilas Apaim Aloha Dalet. Hashem should help us at the right time.